I am Dana Malcolm. This is your Top Stories Morning Edition for Friday, December 8th. Coming up, the news that matters most.
At Fortis TCI, we're committed to diversifying how we produce energy by integrating more alternative energy sources. We've conducted several comprehensive studies over the years to guide our decision-making, including a wind study to help determine the best energy mix to meet the country's current and future energy needs. We continue to use smart, strategic investments in solar energy and are exploring lower carbon-emitting fuels, such as natural gas. We own and maintain 18 rooftop solar energy systems at partner properties across the community that feed renewable energy back to our grid. We're constructing TCI's first solar-powered microgrids and introducing battery energy storage technology to help offset when the sun isn't shining. Once our microgrids come online, North and Middle Caicos will be 30% solar-powered and Salt Key 91% solar-powered. Over time, these steps will help to reduce the impact of global fuel price shocks on local energy costs and lower our carbon emissions. The transition to alternative energy sources requires major investments, sustainability partnerships, and a reform of regulations that govern the utility sector and shape the energy landscape. And while we're transitioning, the scale and speed at which we do has to balance many things, including affordability and ensuring we maintain our reliability to keep power flowing whenever you need it.
Allowances will not be dropped from salaries but included in base pay, so says Anya Williams, Deputy Governor and Head of the Public Service. Williams shared in her written speech on December 4th this nugget, quote, "For those who held allowances that have now been absorbed, this simply means we are now adding it to your basic pay and you are receiving a minimum of a 10% increase after the absorption." Several civil servants had spoken out criticizing what appeared to be a drop of those allowances. The Ministry of Health and Human Services is cautioning residents with chronic illnesses to keep up with their medications as the Christmas season approaches. Others with infectious illnesses like the flu are urged to take precautions so they don't make others sick, including hand washing and wearing masks. Join Premier Washington Mizik and Deputy Premier E.J. Saunders for a live discussion today at 10 a.m. on RTC's Expressions with Robert Hall. They'll discuss the government's investment into the public service and other key initiatives. Magnetic Media is your news leader.
There is simply nowhere else in the Turks and Caicos Islands that you can find such a wholesome variety of your favorite fresh foods. There is simply nowhere else in the Turks and Caicos Islands that you can find such outstanding service. And there is simply nowhere else in the TCI to answer your every food craving in a chic, comfortable, centrally located store. That's a place you can trust. Number one is Graceway IGA. Fresh, service, trust for over 20 years.
Even as offenders turn their lives around with help from the Department of Rehabilitation and Community Services, Director Jaron Harvey says there's a major difficulty that they're facing.
There is a negative perception about offenders in the Turks and Caicos. And part of that is because people don't understand what services are being made available to the people who are caught in the criminal realm.
What the department wants now is to give former offenders a chance to reintegrate into society without stigma. The World Bank has delivered a more positive outlook for Latin America and the Caribbean this quarter, predicting the region is set to experience a 2% growth rate, up from the previous 1.7% in June. Argentina and Haiti were in October predicted to face the most substantial economic contractions. Since then, Argentina has initiated attempts to switch its currency to the US dollar. The Turks and Caicos Islands Humanitarian Awards for 2023-2024 is set for this Saturday, December 9th at the Shore Club, and some winners have already been announced. Awardees in the Community Stars category include Omarty Morris for Grant Turk, Alan Dickinson for Salt Key, Ludell Goldman for South Caicos, Steve Pothamus for Middle Caicos, Andre Rupert Gibson in North Caicos, and finally in Providenciales, Barbara Jervis. Dario Cox was sent back to prison on Tuesday, November 28, 2023, despite being granted bail earlier this year. It follows a police chase on June 15th that ended with a stop and search where a gun and bullets were found. 2 of the 4 occupants of that car were released on bail pending further investigation. The double accused, Dario Sands, was charged immediately because a further search by police turned up additional ammunition at his home. DNA testing has now pegged him for the gun as well. He is represented by F. Chambers Law Firm. For the Crown is Sophia Sandy Smith. I am Dana Malcolm. Thank you for starting your morning with us. Top Stories in 5 is brought to you by Magnetic Media.